This video is going to address declaring data types of constant and decimals. A constant is a variable whose value should not change throughout the entire use of the program. I did an example here of pi, and if I wanted to see if it was correctly initialized, then I could do a console write line. Remember, you can use the tab in order to shortcut in order to fill in what IntelliSense brings up. And if we run this, we should get the value of 3.14 printed out as a double on our screen. So there's my 3.14. So a constant is a value that doesn't change throughout the entire program. And the one that we have as an example in our notes is to have a constant double for a tax rate, and that double is 7%. I would always use 0.07 because it's a little bit easier or clearer than just using 0.07, a little bit easier to read. The other thing that we want to also show is using or declaring a decimal. Okay, and so tax rate is often used to calculate a total bill or to calculate the price of something times the tax rate. And so I might have a variable that's going to represent the price of an item. That should be declared as a decimal. So the item price, and I'm just going to make up an item price, $45.67 for something. And then we want to calculate maybe the total bill, and then the total bill is going to equal the item price plus the item price times the tax rate. Now, I probably should have maybe calculated this and stored it to its own variable. It is yelling at me because I forgot on a decimal that I have to put an M after the value in order to change it to a decimal data type. And then it's also not liking something here. So did I type something wrong? Or I am going to put parens around this to see if it likes that. To clean this up a little bit, it's going to, let's see what it says. Cannot be applied to, this operator, multiplication, cannot be applied to operands of type decimal and double. What that's telling us is that it wants both of those to be decimal. So I'm going to go back up and make decimal, the tax rate, a decimal data type. That's one way to get around that. Another one would have been to cast tax rate as a decimal. Since I'm calculating with money on each of these, then I could do that. Might be technically a bad idea to do that. So if I stuck with the fact that the tax rate should be a double, and this could be a point that maybe some people might argue, like some people might say, no, it's okay to be a decimal. Let's say that we did this. Let me comment out the decimal that I used in order to fix this piece of code here. And then let me cast tax rate to a decimal. So then I'm multiplying a decimal times a decimal, and it's going to be okay with that. And so if my specifications that I had said that the tax rate had to be a double, but I need to multiply it by a decimal, that's how you can get around that little the quirk there, okay, is to temporarily cast tax rate to a decimal, and then you can multiply them. The last thing I'm going to do here is just go ahead and print out these variables so we can verify or just see what they are printing, make sure that they are properly working. We got the write line statements coded, and we will run it quick just to see if it prints correctly. And you won't see a difference between how a double prints out and how a decimal prints out. Right now they're both going to look basically the same. When we get to formatting, we will use some things to designate any decimals with a $sign, so then we know that it's money when we do the formatting. That is this for this video on declaring constants and declaring decimals, and then using decimals with doubles within a single statement.